Hey guys, just got done watching Tales from the Darkside Season 1, Episode 9's A Case of the Stubborns, which originally aired on the 2nd of December 1984. The cast was, as is, Eddie Bracken, Bill McClutchan, Teresa Hughes, Christian Slater, Brett Spiner, Barbara Eda-Young, and Paul Sparrow was the narrator. So I'm going to call Brent Spiner, Swat, whatever. Anyway, so basically, at the beginning of the episode, you've got Matt Tolliver and Jodie Tolliver, and basically they're prime because Matt Tolliver's father's died, and basically Jodie Tolliver's son's Grandpa Titus Tolliver, has died. So they're just about finished, and all of a sudden somebody comes walking down the stairs, and you'd never guess who it is. It's Grandpa. Grandpa's alive, but he's not. He's dead, but he believes he's alive. And they tell him, they say, Grandpa, but you died. And he goes, no, I didn't. No, I'm not dead, and all this. So basically, through the episode, you get appearances from from Reverend Peabody, who is played by Brent Spiner, and he tries to convince Grandpa Titus Sullivan that he's dead, and tells him he needs to join the angels and all this in heaven. And Grandpa Titus Sullivan, even though he's dead, he's still got all his abilities. Like, he can't move properly, he's getting stiff, and he's like every dead body. But he's still got that joyful side to him inside. So it's like, if heaven's so good, Father, or Reverend, why don't you go up and join the angels? And it's really funny. Especially seeing Brent Spiner when you think now of him as like Data from Star Trek. So it's really good to see him in this, as well as seeing Christian Slater as the grandson, who really isn't really that much good at talking Southern, because this is set in the South of America. And basically, so then Dr. Snodgrass comes over, played by Bill McClutchan, and says to him, I pronounced you dead, Titus. Look at the death certificate. And Titus won't believe it. He's getting stiffer. He's fighting off flies because they're landing on him because he's a rotting corpse. And he's sitting there like rocking back and forth going, yeah, I'm not dead. I don't know why Bill keeps saying this to me, Jodie, and all this. And people are starting to get put off by their food, and Bill can smell him because he smells like really bad, like rotting corpse does. And it's getting worse and worse. And through the episode, his face gets more and more disgusting and more rotted and all this. And it's a really good episode. It's a fun horror episode, you know. There's episodes which ain't got any horror in, which are alright, but this episode's kind of horrific in certain aspects, which I'll get to at the end. So, basically, Grandpa won't believe it, so Jodie, Christian Slater, decides to go and see the voodoo woman. And she tells him, and she tells him about how she knew Grandpa Titus Sullivan, and she owes him one. So she gives him a bag full of black pepper. So Jodie goes back, and his mum's like, I think you got con, Jodie. It's just black pepper. So he puts it down on the side, in between like a handkerchief. And Grandpa comes down, and at this point, he can barely move. It's like this. And he sits down, he's got like all this stuff in his face, and it looked like something had been eating him, you know, like worms or maggots or something been eating his face. And he's sitting there, and he's like, oh, can't reach you, give me some food, Jodie. And he's putting it over onto his grandpa's plate. And it's like, if somebody could prove to me I was dead, I'd go upstairs, and you know how it be. And so the mother gives Jodie a kind of look to get him to sneeze. So he picks up the handkerchief because Jodie says he's got something on his face. And he sneezes like, and it all goes all through the place from this place. And then he looks into the handkerchief, and his nose is in the handkerchief. And then he just gets up and goes, well, you look after your mother, Jodie. Because he's going upstairs because he's realised he's dead. But this episode, I found it to be really, really fun. I liked it. I liked the way the grandpa Titus Tulliver was taking the mick out of people and how he was arguing with them. And he reminded me a lot of my nan. My nan's kind of like that type of person where Pilk will tell her she's dead and she won't believe him and she'll just keep on moving. And, you know, the feistiness, the excitement, the way elderly people are when they're not just, you know, miserable and horrible and they're not bitter, but they've got that kind of fun, youthful side to them still. I like that. I thought that was great. I really liked the character of Grandpa Titus Tulliver that was portrayed by Eddie Bracken. Really did. Christian Slater, seeing him in an earlier role as a kid, you could still tell who he was going to be. You could see he was quite a good looking young boy, and it's just a shame because when you think about the 80s and like the 90s, especially early 90s, so Christian Slater, he had it big. He was going to become a big star, and then drugs basically brought him down again. So that was quite sad to remember that, to be honest. Brett Spiner, when you think he was in this before he was in Star Trek and other things, he's probably most well known for playing Data in Star Trek. It was really good seeing him. And one of the things I did like about this was the idea that none of us at times want to die. We don't want to go because we don't want to miss the things that matter to us in life. Like, I'm sure Grandpa Titus Tulliver wanted to see Jodie become a man and wanted to be there for his daughter. And I think we all feel that way to a degree. So the idea that he came back because he couldn't accept death is actually quite a scary idea to a degree, because I think there's a part of us that would all want that in some aspects. And I think because we don't want to die, but we have to at some point. So I kind of felt quite sad for the character as well, because you could tell he loved his family. He wasn't a horrible man. He loved his family and he wanted to look after them in his own way. You could just see it. So I thought that was quite touching as well, and also a bit horrific in the fact that he was rotting, and we all have to go eventually. That's what I'm basically saying, you know. So a great episode. Not horror is in the horror, but horror in the fact that what do we do when we die? Won't we? Sometimes we can't accept that we're going to die because but people can't accept we're dead because they need us still. And I'm sure Grandpa Titus felt that way, and that's why he didn't die. But when he goes up at the end, there was a little bit of sadness in it for me, because I felt bad for him, because when he finally realised, it was like, oh, okay. And it was good though. It was a great episode. So I don't want to get into too depth because it's only an episode of Tales of the Darkside. But you get what I'm saying. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll give this a 4.5 because it was a really good episode, like I said, and one of the better ones so far. So thanks for watching, guys. Join me next time on the next episode of Tales from the Darkside reviews. Thanks, guys.